Hi, I'm corporate trainer Dana Brownlee, and I want to talk today about one of my favorite topics, how to draw work-life boundaries successfully without committing career suicide. I get that question all the time in my personal life, as well as coaching executives and leaders and working with teams. And I want to share just a few tips today. First of all, you want to think about setting yourself up for success by picking the right environment. I mean, it sounds obvious, but sometimes when we're looking for that next job or that next move internally, we don't necessarily think about that level of cultural fit. And that is oh so important because cultures differ so dramatically. And you really do want to align yourself with a boss, with a team, with an organization or a department that really does share your philosophy somewhat. I had a really close friend who worked for a company she really liked, and that company was bought by another company that had a very different corporate culture. The average age, I think, was in the early to mid 20s. They were used to coming into work late and then working until 8 or 9 o'clock and just ordering pizza in for dinner at the office every night. And it really, really just was not a fit. So number one, you really do want to pick the right environment. Secondly, instead of positioning yourself for that really awkward conversation with your boss where you try to lay down the law in terms of your expectations, think about reversing that and instead ask your boss what are their recommendations or what strategies have they used that have been effective in balancing work life and home life. I think that changes the dynamic of the conversation. It makes you feel a lot less anxiety, a lot less defensive, and instead you're soliciting feedback, recommendations from them, and it makes it easier for you to create an opening to agree with them or to piggyback on some of their suggestions or recommendations. If they say, hey, I've got a firm rule, everything shuts down by 6 o'clock, or I don't respond to emails or my BlackBerry until the next morning. If that's something that you also think you'd like to do, it becomes so much easier to chime in on that. And then finally, end the conversation by asking for their support. So you now talked about the strategies they recommend. And again, it's easier to do it because they recommended the strategies. But when you chime in with your wish list or your philosophy, ask for their help in terms of being able to stay within those boundaries and have the work life balance that you're seeking. And then finally, the last tip I want to talk about is share your philosophy with everyone you come in contact with within reason, but share your philosophy broadly with your team so that's not a surprise. And also, you respect your own boundaries because I found that if you don't respect those boundaries, no one else will. So when I talk about sharing the philosophy broadly, it's almost like that adage of when you're on a diet, tell everybody that you know you're on a diet because it really does help you be more accountable. So not only does this help with accountability, I also think that it helps decrease the level of awkwardness when you're in that situation where, say, a meeting is running really late, but you've still got to get up at 4 o'clock and leave to go pick up your kids. It's not a huge surprise because you've already talked about it. Everyone knows what your situation is and what your philosophy is. And then finally, you want to respect those boundaries because I really believe in what Dr. Phil says. You teach people how to treat you. When you start responding to emails or chiming in on emails that are going back and forth while you're supposedly on vacation, that just sends a signal to other people to violate your boundaries. Well, Dana said she was on vacation, but obviously she's not really on vacation because she's also sending us emails. So you don't want to send those confusing signals. You really want to respect your own boundaries. And the tip that I give when I'm coaching other leaders is, let's say you feel like, oh, I have a minute, I just want to go ahead and type this out. Either save it as draft or program the email to send later once you're actually back in the office. So you can program it to send 7 a.m. at Monday morning. That way it doesn't look like you were actually emailing the team while you were on vacation. So those are just a few tips. I hope they're helpful. If you are interested in more tips on this topic, please read the full article. You can find it at workingmother.com, and it's called How to Draw Work Life Boundaries boundaries without committing career suicide. And please, as always, if you're interested in other videos, other white papers, suggestions, tips, recommendations for productivity overall, please visit our website, which is professionalismmatters.com/resources. Thanks so much.